going to live, or when you're looking for a job from the government, which type of job are you going to look for? Are you looking for a programming job or a networking job, or which one?
No, an analyst in programming that I cannot get.
Oh. What's that? Which one?
Networker.
You are networking. Now, I know very many students think that networking has no programming involved. Not so. But from this lesson, or from what you're going to discuss from today until we finish the class, you'll find that system administrators need to have also some good programming skills, because at some point you are also going to write programs. I think here we're saying, but in reality, most professional system administrators spend a lot of time writing scripts. The reason why system administrators write scripts, it's because in the process of working or maintaining your servers, you might write a particular code that will help you to execute your programs faster, or that will be able to keep backing up your data even if you're not there, or something of a sort. That means as a system administrator or someone who is in a networking background, at some point you might need also to capture some programming skills such that you make your life a bit much easier. Are we together? So, yes, we are going to be looking at networks majorly, but at some point you'll also write some codes here and there. So we can continue. Now, in the next slides which are going to come up, we're going to be looking at what are the duties of a system administrator. What do you do as a system administrator from Monday to Monday, or from morning to evening? As a system administrator, what is your duty? What are you supposed to be working on? Because remember, any company you join, whether it is in accounting, they tell you these are your roles, and you're going to be judged based on those roles. Just a moment, please. Okay, I'm back. Now, one thing I also need to inform you about system administration. System administration is not done by one person. Are we together? Just like I can give an example of the University of Kigali. University of Kigali has very many lab attendants. That is comparing Musanze and Kigali. In Kigali, they have 5 labs. In Musanze, we have 2. In Kigali, with 5 labs, each lab has got a system, also a technician there, or what we would have called a lab technician. But there is an overall person who actually now manages them. And that is the one we are calling the IT manager. So system administration is not work done by one person. It is work done by several people, put together and headed by one person. So whenever I'm talking about a system administrator, I'm talking about the leader. But that leader can actually have as many people based on how big the company is. There are some companies with 2, 3. There are some companies with 100 of them, because of the many IT responsibilities they have. So whenever you hear me talking about system admin, understand it from that perspective, that I'm talking about the leader, but the other people behind him who actually do the work. That's why I've said these duties are not always carried out by a single person, but at many sites work is distributed among the team. And later on we shall be seeing that a system administrator, one of his major responsibility is to make sure that he leads. But we shall discuss that as we move along. Now, one of the responsibilities is account provisioning. And account provisioning works this way. Account provisioning works in a way that you have a server, or what we would have called, normally we refer to it as an Active Directory server. When you have a server that is managing many people, our normal computers in offices or your laptops, they have Windows X7, 8, 10. Those are client-based computers, meaning that you only have 1 or 2 users. And by the way, let me ask, why is it that on a server we are not allowed to enable a guest account? Can anyone know what is the purpose of a guest account? I know all of us here have laptops, and I know you have operating systems. What is the purpose of a guest account?
The guest account, there is some program that is not able to access. That is not able to access because of the admin one.
Yes, there are some programs that you might not be able to access in the guest account. But also, you'll find that the guest account is there to enable, just like the word guest in English. A guest is someone who can be welcomed at any time, and you can be opened for very easily. Now, a guest account on any computer is an account that doesn't have a password. In fact, the word itself is guest. You just click on the account and it automatically opens. Now, that we cannot allow on a server. You cannot allow an account that has no password to access your server. Remember, right now I want you to figure or to put in your mind that you're talking about the university server for students' results or students' marks. And I'm assuming that Samuel has got a retake. I'm not saying you have it. You have a retake of 22 out of 100 in programming. That is C programming. And there is a guest account. What can you do? Sam? Hell, Samuel.
Yes.
What can you do in case you find that you have an account that has no password and it is the one to help you modify the marks and you have a retake? What will you do?
I can edit.
Automatically. Now, as a security measure, you can never leave an account without a password. And that's why all servers, you never find a guest account. Now, coming back to accounts, remember now, like University of Kigali has close to 6,000 students in the class. That means those are 6,000 accounts on that student server, because all of you created your accounts remotely. You are putting your RIG number and then the password, and you can see your marks. That means all the 6,000 students actually have active accounts on the server. Now, how you create those accounts, how you manage them, that is directly under the control of the system administrator. And if those accounts are weak in terms of passwords, in terms of how you create them, then that would be a problem. Now, one of the problems you're going to get as a system administrator, and this one, it is something that I also experienced when I had just graduated. Because when I graduated, I also worked as a system administrator at some point. You're going to have issues of people asking, what is my password? Let me ask, Wasa. Hey, Madam Wasi.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing your name right?
It's okay.
It's okay. Now, you have a laptop, not so? When was the last time you changed the password of that computer?
The last time,
Yes.
maybe it's like
In April.
Yes.
Isn't that lying?
No?
Okay, let me give another example. You have a Facebook account,
Yes,
you have a Gmail.
I have.
When was the last time you changed those passwords?
I didn't change.
So since you created it, when did you create it? Like 5 years ago?
Maybe.
No, you have created the account 5 years ago, but you've never changed the password. That means your account is in danger. And later on, we shall be talking about the different passwords, requirements, how complex should be later on within the chapter or other chapters. But why am I bring this? Being that we create many accounts for many users, I can give an example today that I create an account for the Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellors, normally these are people who have done accounting, have done human resource, have done finance. They don't have any background in IT. So you create the account for him, even send him the password. He uses it and then afterwards goes for a workshop for 1 week or 2. One of the things that you are going to be asked is, what is my password? That is a question that system administrators find very frustrating, that you find people asking your password as if you're supposed to know their passwords. Because my work as a system administrator, create an account, create a default password, send it to them. But the people I'm sending those passwords to, they think you are the one who is supposed to be reminding them their passwords. It is one of the issues that you're always going to get whenever you're using your server. That's why I put it here, that you'll always have issues with forgotten passwords. So normally a system administrator is the one who will create the new users, will be able to add new users, but also one thing that you need to be very, very careful about is always the system administrator should work hand in hand with a human resource officer. Let me ask, is there any of us here who is employed or who has worked before? Anyone?
Yes.
So, Ange, you've worked before?
Yes.
And you were sacked or you left alone?
I left alone.
You left alone. Now, there are situations when, let me say you're working for University of Kigali, since that's what we are used to. Now, if by any chance a lecturer or a staff is sacked, you know, normally you have two types of losers in life. You have a good loser and you have a bad loser. A good loser, after losing his job, he'll write a very beautiful letter saying, I want to thank the promoters for having given me the chance to work with University of Kigali, and I will forever be a friend of University of Kigali, and leaves. But we also have a bad loser. Just imagine you've been the system administrator, you are the one who has been working very hard, doing everything, then you go to the HR and says, please, you have been sacked. If you are the bad loser, the chance is high that I'll leave the university, use my account, since I have my password and username of that server, and delete all the information on that server. Remember, I'm no longer an employee. I've been sacked. So you have no right over me. Since you have no right over me, that means I'm at your mercy. So I think the problem that is associated with leaving an account of someone who has been sacked or someone who has left the company, that the moment you leave that account active, if I've been paid money or if I have a motive of frustrating the company where I was, I'll use the same account, log into the server, and then either manipulate the results. Remember, I'm teaching some students who are my friends, and they had a retake and I've already gone, so I can still use my account and update the results and I get some money, or I can be able to delete some details. All that is possible if someone has left the company and the system administrator has not deleted his account. So what systems administrators do, they work hand in hand with the human resource office. When they're going to sack someone, the first thing you'll notice as any user, you'll come put in your username and password and it just tells you password wrong, contact the administrator. Now that means that someone has already deactivated your account because you have already been sacked. You don't want to take chances of someone being sacked and is very angry to the university and will delete the university students' data. So to avoid that, you deactivate the account and then talk to him or tell him what has happened. So as a system administrator, you need to remove accounts of users who are no longer active or who are no longer part of the university. Now, there are also situations where instead of deleting the account, you can also deactivate or disable the account. Those two things are different and we shall be seeing them in future in details when you do the practicals about account provisioning. Deleting an account means that user account has been totally removed from the database. And when you remove that, you have an option of either backing up the data or not to back up. But that account will not be used again. It is deleted. But there are situations where an employee has gone for leave. An employee has been put on suspension. That means those employees will come back to the company or they'll come back and work for the university. But when they are on suspension or when they are on leave, they are not supposed to do any work that is part of the university. When me as Katene Nicholas leaves and I go for my leave for 1 month or 2 and I go to Kampala or Nairobi, when I'm there, I'm only enjoying my time. I don't need to do any work that is related to University of Kigali. So for the company to make sure that you don't do anything, when you're on your leave, they disable the account. And later on, when you shall be doing the practicals, I'll show you how you can disable someone's account in that way. Then, the other bit of deleting, that means the account will no longer be accessible by anyone. And there is also another option where you can rename an account. That is, if I use an example of the head of department, one head of department leaves, another one comes. It's because you need to use the same data which that office holds. You only change the name and the password, but you leave the account there. So you can rename an account, you can disable an account, and you can delete an account, and also you can create a new account. So when you come to account provisioning, those are the 4 things that you're likely to do. You create an account, you can disable an account, you can rename an account, you can also delete an account. So just a moment, please. Sorry for that. There was someone who was trying to call me. Now, we can go back to the next slide. Just a moment. So the next role or our duty of a system administrator is adding and removing hardware. Let me ask, by the way, I didn't ask this question at the beginning. Anyone here who has not done computer maintenance? Anyone? All of us have done.
Someone.
Yes?
Someone.
Someone you've not done?
Yes. Yes.
Ansha, what have you finished doing computer maintenance?
I did.
Okay. And Ansha, have you done computer maintenance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Now, for someone who has not, I'll go slowly here. I know there are modules in our curriculum that shape you as a system administrator. And one of those modules is computer maintenance. And what we usually discuss in computer maintenance is all about management and repairs of machines. Now, one of the roles of a system administrator is to make sure that you can be able to add any newly purchased hardware. And newly purchased hardware can be a new server, can be new printers, can be a new network that you want to establish in some particular place. It can be anything new that has been bought. But also you can remove any hardware that is either has totally got spoiled. You can remove because you are moving it from one office to another office. Or it can also be going to be maintained. So you need to take it for repairs. All that is supposed to be under the systems administrator's work. So when your hardware is purchased or when a hardware is moved from one machine to another, a system administrator is supposed to do that. But that job of adding or removing hardware can be as simple as just removing one printer and install and it works. That is just less than 30 minutes. But it can also be very complex. And can be complex because of how you manage your systems, how you manage, because later on, in fact, in chapter 2, we shall be talking about virtualization. Virtualization, that is where you can be able to create another virtual machine on top of another server. Now, that one, unless when you are taught how to do it, it is not something that you can wake up and do comfortably, or that you can do and you get successful. That is something that we are going to learn in chapter 2, and I'll show you step by steps practically how you can do it. So virtualization is now part of the computing environment, where you can be able to configure the hardware, where you can be able to configure the software, where you can be able to. So virtualization is quite big. That's why it is a whole chapter within our course. But you're going to discuss that later on. And I'll give more details when we get there. Then also there is an issue of performing backups. Let me ask, what is a backup? Or what is the difference between a backup and an archive? Anyone who knows, those who did computer maintenance, I know you must know it. What is a computer backup? Ansh, I'm seeing you want to say something?
I was a backup in the way of storage is where you store your data, where you store your data without using it.
There's something missing. You are 50-50. Someone who can polish, how Wesa said has done computer maintenance, you can add to what Angie is saying.
Didn't do computer maintenance.
You've not done?
Yes.
Aren't you saying that because you don't want to answer questions?
No, I have said before.
In the beginning, I had like you have done. Okay, now, let me just put it this way. Just like what Angela said, backup, it means you have files somewhere stored. But a backup, if I can use something that we are all used to. Anyone here who has ever lost a phone? Maybe stolen, or you lost it in the bus, or somewhere you lost your phone somewhere. Anyone? So you
Yes.
guys, you are that lucky. Oh, okay.
Yes.
What did you complain of when you lost your phone? Was it a smartphone or was it the KZG?
It was a smartphone.
For smartphone, you'll only complain about how expensive your phone was, eh?
Uh-huh. And you store like photos, videos, files, documents.
Now that is where you're going to complain more. So you have your photos, you have your videos on your phone, and unfortunately, you have not kept them anywhere else. So losing your phone, you start crying of that. Normally for those, anyone here using a KZG? Those small phones, the ones we call the touch phones, anyone using it?
A long time ago.
No, not even long ago. The people still use them even today.
According to me, not today.
No, by the way, in terms of security, that person who uses the KZG is more secure than us who are using smartphones. Do you believe so? Let me ask, which type of phones do the mobile money agents use?
This little phone, small phone.
And yet those ladies or gentlemen have millions on their account. But the reason why they're using those phones is because they're a bit more secure. Now, coming back to backups, you find that someone using that type of phone, the small one, the one I'm referring to as the KZG, that one, you lose your phone, you have nowhere you're going to get your contacts back. Because you lose it, there is no backup. For our smartphones, we are lucky enough that any contact you put in your phone is automatically updated on the Google servers. That means if you lose your phone, you'll only complain, just like Ange will complain of your files, that is photos, that is videos, and anything that you have not kept anywhere. But for contact, you can no longer complain because you only buy a new phone, put your Gmail account, and it will synchronize, meaning that it will bring back all the content that you have lost. Now, what Google does is it creates a copy of whatever you have on your phone and stores it online. So Google creates what you call a backup. So to be precise, a backup is a copy from an original data. In fact, I usually say that a backup is where you do copy and paste, meaning that you leave the original data there, and then you get a copy of that data and you store it somewhere else. In fact, in this particular module, there is a chapter I dedicated about backups. Now, let me show you or explain how backup can be your lifesaver, or it can be the one that will make you get arrested. Let me give a simple scenario. Let me assume that Samuel is the new system administrator of University of Kigali. And we are going to have a graduation in September. But your computer hard disk, that is your server hard disk, crashes in August. What do you do? Samuel?
Sorry?
I'm imagining that you are the system administrator of University of Kigali. And in September, we have a graduation. And the computer where the student's results is crashes in August. What do you do?
Maybe nothing. I will do something before, like backup.
Now, in the event that you've not done any backup, there are two things you'll expect. You'll expect being given a warning letter, And at some point, you might also get arrested because there is no way Professor Shuti will leave you to go when you have messed up his university. Now, just imagine that you have not backed up the university student server. And remember, in the life of IT, we have a saying, in fact, even in security, that always prepare. So always expect the best, but always prepare for the worst. You get what I mean there? Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Why do we say so in security? That you cannot just sit there and you pray to God that everything will remain as it is. I don't say I don't believe in God. I go to church and I believe in God. But in security, it is what have you done to secure your data that in event the computer crashes, you can still survive. Okay. Let me share the PowerPoint so that we can all follow. So just like I've said here, you can see this, we are saying that backups are time consuming and boring. That is very true. Any work that you do repeatedly, today, tomorrow, the next day, the other day, the whole year, it automatically becomes boring. But it's absolutely necessary. The day you will not back up and something wrong happens is the day any system administrator will never wish to ever happen on earth. Because that day you can easily get sacked, you can easily get arrested because the company would have lost a lot of data because of not backing up. So backing up can be automated, and besides automating it, that is doing automatically because you've reserved or scheduled the time for the backup. As you might say at 10 backup, so that means it's already automated. But you can also delegate that work to someone else to do it. But as long as you're sure that backup will always be done at the right time, then you'll be safe. If you don't, it will mean that at one point, if you don't get that data, you'll automatically get sacked because you would have lost the company business and losses to that company. Now, the other bit is about installing and upgrading software. Let me ask, anyone here who has ever formatted a computer? Who have ever installed a computer software? Yes.
Yes.
So Mr. Ange has done so. Samuel, have you done it before? Hey,
No.
But you have a laptop?
Yes, I have.
So who changes the operating system for you? You pay money.
No. Because it's new.
Oh, it is still new. Okay. But now we shall learn how to do it. Wesley, have you ever installed a new operating system?
No.
You've never?
Yes.
How old is your laptop? You said 1 year. So who changes the operating system for you? You pay money.
No, it was there.
It has stayed all this far.
Yeah.
Now, there are problems associated with keeping your computer for long without formatting. There is something I want you to notice to those of us who have not changed our operating system. Your computer, gradually, it will become slow. I need you to notice that when you bought it when it was new, it was very fast. You could click and open the file, you could click and open everything, it could restart very fast. But right now you find that it is very slow. Why is it slow? Because the operating system files are getting corrupted. So if you've taken long without formatting or changing the operating system, you also find that right now you have a lot of error messages. You do something, an error message comes. You do something, an error message comes. Why? We have not changed the operating system for long. Now, it is the same thing with the server. Also, the server needs to be, you need to keep on changing the operating system, but not as often. Because the server controls, let me say, controls 1,000 students. The moment you format that server, all the 1,000 students will no longer have access to that server. Right now, all of you have read a complaint that you want to get the notes from the MIS, but the MIS cannot. And the reason why you are having that problem is because at main campus, right now they are updating the server. In companies like MTN, you'll get a message saying between midnight and at 2, the services will be off because we shall be doing upgrades or maintenance on our servers. In University of Kigali, because they're all employees, they will update when they are at work. And that's the reason why we have been having issues, because they're updating the server. So it is not very good to update your server anytime you wish, because there are very many people who are actually going to be affected because of the server being off. So in brief, I know all of us can be able to install a software in Windows. Because installing a software in Windows, it is clicking next, next, I agree, next, next, install, next, next, finish. As brief as that. But let me ask, has anyone ever installed either a Linux operating system or has installed a software in a Linux operating system? Anyone? So no one. I know, Angie, you told me you've used a Linux operating system before.
Yeah, I used, but I never installed it.
But you know, are you the one who installed the operating system?
For Windows.
For Windows, but not for Linux. Now, later on, maybe on Wednesday, we shall also do a practical on how to install Linux and to configure some of the things we shall be looking at later on. But in Windows, it is as easy as next, 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 install, so I agree, next, finish, and you're done. Installation in Linux, it is by running commands. That's why when you go to the notes in the MIS, I've already put a video of how you install a Linux software. Because it is not as easy as clicking next, 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 finish. For it, you have to actually type commands. Change directory, that is you type CD. After changing directory to the local disk or to the desktop, then you type ls to list files. Then make directory. Then you run the directory. Then you compile or configure and all that, but you shall see it practically later on. So it is not as easy as ABC when you come to Linux. And I know all of us are comfortable with Windows because that is what we are used to. But later on, we shall find out many reasons why you should switch to Linux and you move away from Windows, or you can use both. One, Linux is free. Let me ask you, how much is Windows 10 professional? To those of you who know. If you're using a genuine Windows 10 that you have bought, how much is it? People don't know. Now, let it be an assignment today Try to Google because it is easy. You can just Google the cost of Windows 10. And remember, Windows 10 has got different versions. It has professional, home edition, you have enterprise, you have education, and you have Internet of Things or IoT. Now, all of those will be different costs. And since it is for you to check out, you find that that operating system is not free. And that's the reason why Bill Gates is still among the richest people. In fact, either is number 1 or number 2, that's how it keeps changing. But Windows is expensive and it's not free. Linux is free. You just go to the internet and download whichever version you want. On Wednesday, we shall be doing a practice and I will show you the different versions you can see. Because you can install Ubuntu that all of us know or are used to. You can install Fedora. You can install SUSE. You have Red Hat. You have Arch. You have Debian. All of those are different versions of Linux. Now, installing a Linux operating system, and after installation, you'll end up seeing all the softwares you need. Meaning that you don't need to install Mozilla for you to use your internet. No, it's already installed. You don't need to install Microsoft Office because it's already part of the operating system and all of that. And also one of the major reasons why people use Linux. Linux does not have a virus that can attack it as of now. When you format Windows, we put antiviruses, not so? Let me ask, which antivirus are you using, Ange? You are using Kaspersky. Samuel, which antivirus?
SmartDAV.
Allah, that is not an antivirus.
It's Kaspersky, yeah.
Which antivirus are you using? Are you sure? Is it still real or it has expired? Samuel, which one are you using?
I said the Kaspersky.
Oh, you are using Kaspersky. So I'm assuming all of us are using Kaspersky. That's what you're saying. But Kaspersky is also expensive because you buy it. I think when you buy it in Kigali, you get it around 15 to 20,000, depending on which shop you go to. With the Linux, you don't need an antivirus. You install and immediately use. Because the way it was designed, it cannot be attacked by any virus now on the market. With Windows, you buy the Windows operating system first, you buy Microsoft Office, you buy the antivirus, and any other software you want to use. Almost they're all commercial. With Linux, majority of the softwares are free. But we shall be discussing that practically as we move along. So going back to the point of discussion here. Any new software that is brought in any organization, the system administrator, what he does first is to test and see if that software is operational and is compatible to the operating system we are using. What do we mean here? Anyone, by the way, let me ask, have you studied Visual Basic?
Yeah.
You have studied Visual Basic. Have you studied Java?
Yes.
What is the difference in terms of platform for Java and Visual Basic?
Visual Basic we use the graphical interface.
Java
is the command line.
Now, one thing that you're going to notice between those two languages, Java is platform independent. What does it mean? That I can install Java on Windows XP, That is a program designed and written in Java. I can install it on Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 without a problem. And I can install it on the server without a problem. But if I design any software using that is Visual Basic. Visual Basic is what we call platform dependent. It is platform dependent because if it was designed for Windows 10, you cannot install it on Windows 8. And if you do it on Windows 8, you need to reconfigure it again. Meaning that your next, it won't work. You need to go back to the settings and then you reconfigure so that it can work on Windows 8 because for it originally it was designed on Windows 10. Now, as a system administrator, you need to check the software that you have bought as a company. Is it compatible to your server? Because you might be having Server 2019, but that Server 2019, the software installing, is it compatible to 2019 or it is compatible to 2016? If it is not compatible, then you automatically tell the management not to buy that software. So when a new software is acquired, it must be installed, tested, and often under different operating systems and on different types of hardware for the purpose of knowing or seeing, is it effective, is it compatible, and is it user-friendly? Those are very important for a system administrator to confirm before actually you can go ahead. Then when it comes to updates, it is good to keep updating our computers. By the way, let me ask, do we update our antiviruses? And our operating system or the computer does it automatically? Madam Wasa, when was the last time you updated your computer?
I don't know.
Do you use internet on your laptop?
Yes.
How often do you use it?
I use it more.
Okay. Now, why am I asking this question? That all of you have said you are using Kaspersky, and I know Kaspersky right now is taken as the best antivirus. But Kaspersky antivirus, if you take long without updating it, it will also not be effective. It is there, but will not be of any value to you because it will not capture any new recent viruses on the market. It is just like when you go to church and the pastor says, close your eyes and we pray, then for you do like this. It means I can see everything even if the pastor said close the eyes. So you have Kaspersky that seems good, but has not been updated. That means it doesn't have the current updates that will enable it to capture the recent viruses. 2, an operating system that is not updated is also very vulnerable to being hacked. That's why once in a while you see Windows saying install Windows updates. Why? To make it more secure and to remove all the patches that are vulnerable to attacks. I know later on we shall be talking about security, but if you remember, I think it was 2018 May or June, there was an attack called ransomware virus attack, which we called WannaCry. WannaCry virus attack compromised servers which were not updated. They exist, but they were not updated, and in that way, they compromised the whole system. So when someone sent the virus to attack the servers, those servers that were not updated, they are the ones which automatically got affected and they shut down, and the university, not the university, but the world lost over 2 trillion US dollars because of the virus attacks of that nature. But those virus attacks come and attack files that are not updated. So it is always very good to update your server, but I also need to put a disclaimer. Don't update a server unless when you're sure that the update you're going to run is stable. I can give you an example that I think last year, around October, November, Microsoft released an update that was not stable. That the update they released to the market already had errors. And when they sent those updates, the machines that updated become slower and some computers even crashed. Microsoft came out and apologized and life went on. Now, if it is your server that you're trying to update and you update such unstable update, it means that you compromise all the people who are accessing your server at that particular point. So a server is not updated anyhowly. In fact, later on we shall know or see that there is an IT policy that states on who installs an application on a server. When do you install? When do you uninstall? When do you update? And which type of updates are allowed to install on a server? Because no, you don't only wake up on Monday because you feel like I just want to update and you update. No. When you do that, you'll automatically compromise your server. Because some updates are not stable, some updates have errors, and some updates are also not as good. So you need to know when to update based on the quality of the updates you want to run on your server. Are we together? And if I may ask, what's the difference between updating and upgrading? Because that is something people don't usually see the difference. What's the difference between updating and upgrading? Yes, Ange. Sorry, we're not hearing you.
Updating,
yes,
is when there is some files in a computer or some software you want to update.
okay.
It cannot change all the software.
Uh-huh.
Upgrading is press.
Exactly. Just like what Ange is saying. Updating means you have your current software. Let me say Windows 8. You go to internet and just add more files to the existing software. You're not changing the software. You're only adding more files. That is updating. Upgrading means you are changing from one version to a higher version. You are moving from Windows 8 to Windows 10. So when you're moving from Windows 8 to Windows 10, that is what you call update, so upgrading. So you're upgrading from one version to a higher version so that it becomes easy to get or access new features that exist in the new version. Just like Windows 8 is totally different from Windows 10. And if you're not very, if nothing changes, either at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year, we might also be having Windows 11. Let me ask, for those of you who follow internet or follow Microsoft or news, when is Windows 11 coming out? Those who follow, when is Windows 11 coming?
Maybe August.
August this year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So are we ready to use Windows 11?
You'll see what's the new on that Windows.
No. By the way, there are people here who are still using Windows 7. Do I have them?
No, I use 10.
Uh-huh. Samuel, which version are you using? Say, Wasa, which version are you using?
I'm using Windows 10.
Windows 10.
Yes.
Today I don't have anyone using Windows 7 or Windows 8. Now, to give you the correct detail, Windows 10, Windows 11 will be released this year, July 29th. That is when the world will be seeing new Windows 11. Let me try to share this with you. Let me share my whiteboard. You can read that one? So July 29th, 2020, Windows 11 release date. Microsoft released Windows 11 on this date and will be available to general public. Windows 11 updates, the operating system will be available through update centers of either Windows 7, say Windows 10 or Windows 7. Meaning that you can upgrade your system. If you have Windows 10, you can upgrade it to Windows 11. Or if you have Windows 7, you can also upgrade it to Windows 11. So as IT people, it is very, 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 very important that we are the first people to use Windows 11. Let me give a simple scenario. Just imagine you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you, we don't have the medicine, and yet you know there is a new medicine that can cure your disease. You go to the hospital and you know there is a new virus, say there is a new antivirus for coronavirus, but the doctor tells you he doesn't know that the medicine exists. What do you do as the patient? You'll automatically start doubting how professional that doctor is. Why? It is supposed to be that you should know that there is current medicine on the market. Just like us in IT, you should automatically know there is the current or there is oncoming new version of Windows. So when we get Windows 11, and I think it is just 1 month to go, 1 month and 7 days to go, we shall be having Windows 11. So that is all for installing and upgrading, say updating or upgrading softwares. Very good to know that you need to be installing new softwares, updating them, but also equally upgrading when a new version appears. Now, still to continue with upgrading softwares, some local softwares and administrative scripts should be properly packaged and managed in a fashion that is compatible with the native upgrade procedures based on systems at your site. This is what I was talking about, the policy. You don't just wake up and install what you want. No. You actually install based on what are you having, based on your current system. You cannot just wake up and install, but run scripts that you know will be compatible to your system and test them before you fully install them in your live system. Now, on Wednesday, we shall be talking about virtualization. If we move close at that speed, we shall see that we use virtualization mainly for testing softwares. Instead of running them in the real environment that will crash, we test them first, we see they are working, and then afterwards, you can serve to the rest of the users to use that software. So that is all to do with that. Then you have what you call monitoring the system. Now, monitoring the system works this way. Monitoring the system can be broken down into several ways. But largely, as a supervisor or as a system administrator, you need to keep checking. Is your system okay? Is it as fast as it was before, or it is getting slow? That is one thing. Are the users doing what they are supposed to do, or they are having problems? Just like the first paragraph here says, that large installations require constant supervision, and don't expect users to report problems to you unless when the issues are very severe. Working around the problem is usually faster than taking time to document and reporting it. So users often prefer the path of least resistance. What does this mean? Very many times users will have problems with their computers, but they will not communicate to you. You find that the person has a problem with his network, but keeps working around it because doesn't see any problem. A user, the system still generates error messages, just clicks OK and continues. A system is very slow, just continues with it. But remember, these error messages, the system being slow, if you don't monitor it early enough, it might lead to your system crashing. It might lead to your system to malfunction completely. So as a system administrator, you should regularly check the users, check the system. It can be a server dealing with mails, that is having Outlook. It can be using checking the logs, whether they are having problems signing in. You can check the network. Are we together? Why? If you don't follow this, you might find that always your computer has problems, your server crashes because of an accumulation of things that you would have solved before. Let me give a simple example. And I'm going to give an example based on ladies. Please, Wasa, don't say I'm against you, but I know it is a problem. Even some men do it. Very many ladies will have problems with their boyfriend or their husband, but they will not say or tell the husband or the boyfriend. But you'll just hear her one day saying, "Me, I'm divorcing." And the reason why she's divorcing is an accumulation of problems. If you tell her now you're divorcing, but what is the issue? She will tell you, you don't come back early, you've never bought for me anything on my birthday, you've never taken me out, I've seen you with another girlfriend. All those problems that even you would have solved if she had told you early, she tells you at the last minute. Why? As a boyfriend or husband, you did not monitor her to see if she's frustrated or not. And it's the same thing with your server. To system administrators, our babies or girlfriends are our servers that you need to keep monitoring to see, is your server slowing down? And if it's slowing down, what is the problem? That you find a solution at that time and stage. Your network, is it slowing down or it is normal? You might find that your network can slow down because there is a virus that has attacked your network. Later on, when we shall be talking about security, we shall be talking about distributed denial of service. Those are viruses that attack the network. When you talk about a worm virus is distributed in a way that it attacks a network and it becomes slow. So if you don't notice that your system is slow or your network is slow, you might find that a virus is actually sabotaging your network. And if you don't remove that antivirus, that virus early enough, your system will actually crash. So you need to automatically make sure that your server is monitored, always to check the problems and solve them early enough. So all of these tools are excellent candidates for automation, and a variety of off-shelf monitoring system can help you. Later on, we shall be talking about what we call I'm forgetting the name, Event Viewer. Now, an Event Viewer is a software that is already embedded in the operating system. But the Event Viewer is used to actually monitor your system. But we shall do it practically, and I'll show you how to use the Event Viewer to know the errors in your system. How to use the Event Viewer to know who has logged in and accessed what. All that can be checked later on, but the system or the computer was designed to have the Event Viewer that does that for you, but you can also download or buy other softwares that can monitor the system much better off. So let me continue with another one. Now, there is what you call troubleshooting. Now, troubleshooting, to those of you who have not studied computer maintenance, I'll explain it. Now, troubleshooting is the outcome of someone who has failed to monitor his system, and it means that the system now has crashed, has got spoiled. And because it has got spoiled, now you need to bring your head together to know what is the problem and how to solve that problem. Now, what do I mean here? One, monitoring, you are doing what you call preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance means that you see you monitor the system, you see the problem of the system, and you work around that system. Meaning that you actually know there is a problem here, and because that problem exists, you have the time to solve that problem much early. And because you have the time to solve that problem much early, you are able to maintain that system and will last longer. But in the event that you did not monitor your computer, you don't monitor your system, and your computer crashes or your system crashes, it means you're going to do what we call troubleshooting. That is, system failures are inevitable, and as system administrator, you play the mechanics of diagnosing the problem, or you might even call an expert where necessary. So what this means is, actually, the system has crashed, sit down, have to check where the problem is so that the computer can come back to life. Someone is saying that is on the chat. Sorry, sir, I can't hear you well because it is raining and it's also bringing more problems and catastrophic things, so that I can leave a little bit. Thank you. Sorry, Samuel, I thought I didn't know that you're having problems that side because of the rain, but I think others can hear me. If you can hear me, you can say yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that means it's Samuel who had a problem with hearing me. Okay, we're going to just finish shortly. As you know, with e-learning, you cannot teach non-stop for 3 hours or 2 hours non-stop. We basically, maximum I can do is 2 hours, because I know it is one way majority of the time. But we shall go slowly, but cover whatever we have to cover for the time that we shall have, okay? So, as I was saying, that troubleshooting is a skill that you also develop with time. Preventive maintenance is common for ladies. If I can put it in real life, when a lady gets a simple pimple on the face, she'll automatically run to the doctor to ask, why is it that I have this pimple here? Or she even has a doctor's appointment just to check with the doctor on day-to-day lifestyle. For men, we don't do preventive maintenance. For men, we do troubleshooting. Men are taken to the hospital. You fall sick and they rush you to the hospital and they treat you there. So your server, if you don't monitor it, it automatically breaks down. And when it breaks down, you do now the troubleshooting. Now, there are times when you fail to do the troubleshooting yourself, that you actually have now to ask for another person that is an expert to come and help you. But I need to warn you early enough as any future system administrator. Never allow yourself that every time you have a problem, you ask for an expert. If every time you have a problem with your server, you ask to bring an expert, it will mean that I will sack you and employ the expert, because there is no way I'm going to be paying money twice. I'm paying you a salary of, let me say, 500,000, and every time you tell me expert here, expert there, then I'll rather pay the expert and I sack you. So as a system administrator, you need to improve your troubleshooting skills so that you can maintain your server in normal working condition. Otherwise, if you don't, then it means that I'll automatically sack you. And when I sack you, you lose your job, and then it will be a problem to you. But for better planning purposes, you make sure that you have all what you need early enough that you'll be able to monitor your system to minimize on the chances of it breaking down. And if it breaks down, you can actually come back to it and know how to work around it. So if I might, I don't know whether I can continue or I can stop here. Are we still sober? Sober not meaning that you are drunk, but sober meaning that you are still understanding. Are we okay? What's that?
Let's continue tomorrow.
We'll continue tomorrow. Ange, what are we saying? Now, tomorrow, I will not be able to, I will not be around tomorrow. Just like I said at the beginning of this class, I have a meeting with the promoters in Kigali at 11, and that means our time when I'm supposed to be in class with you, I'll actually be traveling. So we shall come back on Wednesday, and we continue with our class on Wednesday. Are we together? But I'm going to share this PowerPoint presentation on our WhatsApp group so that you can download it from there, since you're having issues downloading it from the university MIS. So tomorrow I will not be able to teach, but we shall continue from slide 11, and then we shall discuss more and more as we move along. We are together there. I don't want to rush it because we are few, and I need to go slow and we wait for the others to join us. Okay? Sawa. So let me stop here, and let me share the WhatsApp. On the WhatsApp group, I'm going to share the document, then you can be able to go through with it there. So let me wish you a good day.
Thank you.